It is Friday, July the 9th, about 6:35 p.m. in New Mexico, just past New Gallup, and now we're at a backup for construction. And hello, it's been a while, about a week since I've done an update. We are on our way to Illinois. We picked up this morning and in Phoenix. Alex's mom had a mild stroke, which we stopped in Phoenix for our 34-hour reset, which ended up being an unexpected trip to Mexico. So that's where we've been. Good news, Alex's mom is good. She got to come home and she's doing well. Thankful for a company that just allowed us to just drop everything and go where we needed to go. So that was good. And it just happened to work out really well. We were in Phoenix, and we were starting our reset, so we weren't on the road. When he did get the call, we were under a load that we were picking up after our reset on Tuesday morning. But it worked out because he got the call on Sunday. And I was able to, I sent a message text to my driver leader, and she told me what to do to contact the weekend people and have them remove the load from us, and we sent our PTA out. So it was pretty good. The flight, actually, we were supposed to fly out Monday. That flight was delayed because there was a storm in Houston. When the flight actually did leave, it got to Houston the same time the connecting flight was flying from Houston to Monterrey, but the flight was eventually canceled due to the weather. But it was okay because they rebooked for the next morning. So the next morning, on the next flight, it was actually canceled. The 10:30 flight was canceled because of a maintenance issue on the plane, which then the next flight was going to be noon. So it was exhausting to get there. The way we had planned is it would allow Alex to have a full day and a half so that he could be at the hospital with his mom, and it ended up only Tuesday evening and then Wednesday morning before the flight back to Phoenix. That flight back to Phoenix, I don't know what happened. It was got to Houston, and the other flight either was we missed it due to, I don't know, whatever the situation was. I don't understand. But then that made us for a later flight to get in later. So again, they really worked with us to get a load out this morning rather than having us sit. So I don't know, it's good. And then we already have another pickup load. Once we drop this load, we already have another load scheduled to go from Illinois to Salt Lake City. So it's good. They're going to keep us running because we have that bill now to pay off, which is okay. It's doesn't matter what the amount of money is if you could be with a loved one, especially in time of need. Then that's any amount of money is fine. But now we just need to work hard to pick that up. But because we were out for 5 days, we had to cancel our home time that we were doing in St. Joe at the end of the month to spend with Lonnie. So, but he's understandable or understands, and so it's kind of good that he got to come out to Vegas to spend time with us in Vegas the last time when Alex went back to Mexico. So it's okay, but we need to make sure that we're meeting our miles and our expectation of our job. And so sometimes you just have to kind of put on the big kid pants and do what needs to happen. But that's okay. On the flip side of this, so when I talked to my driver leader yesterday, and so she's like, hey, stop by and before you guys head out. And I'm like, oh, okay, because originally we were set to, our time to be available was 10 a.m. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then they sent us a load that had to be picked up at 7 a.m. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm not going to see her this time because they sent us a load. So we went and picked up the load and just stopped at the Love's and got gas in Buckeye. And she's like, I really need you to stop in. So I was like, okay. So ended up, I was lucky enough to get chosen for a P test 2 months in a row because they have a random list, and it just randomly will pull people that have to go in for the UA. And so I got there and she's like, yeah, congratulations, your P test. I'm like, I just did one. She goes, yeah, how lucky are you? So maybe I should have been playing the lottery because, within the last 3 months I've had, we were in Salt Lake City. I had to stop in for an alcohol test, which is a random also. And then June and July I was pulled for a urine drug screen. So that's fine. And this one was pretty quick. Last month, man, I got in there because I literally just went to the bathroom before I walked in to go see her. Because, she can't tell you what it is. That way you don't prep for a drug test, So I just come to the bathroom, so I ended up having to chug a bottle of water and wait around until you go to the bathroom. This time at least, I had been drinking iced tea, so that caffeine kind of helps. And when I got there, I was able to I want to say donate. But anyways, so there's that. But I was able to talk to her a little bit and kind of get a little bit of information about what I need to do to apply for that driver leader position, and then ask her a little bit about what's available for Alex. So she pretty much said, yeah, just go online and apply. And as far as Alex staying in the truck, she said that he qualifies to be a mentor, which is not something that he's wanting to do. He doesn't feel comfortable, which I think he would be fine being a mentor, but he says that he doesn't feel comfortable that he could teach people, and plus he doesn't want to deal with the winter, driving in the snow. Last winter was tough. It was a tough winter, which was my first winter out, which I was okay. I mean, I've lived in winter states, so it didn't bother me. But I get it, especially if you have a student, because obviously, well, for a student, generally they'll keep you out of areas that are wintry or storms, because if you have a student and it's snowing, you have to pull over and you drive, not the student. Also, like any hard rain or any fog or anything like that could be a potential hazard. The student has to step off and the mentor has to actually take on. So, but I get it. But she did say that there's a couple things. Target Dedicated is hiring people, which means that he would be home every weekend for his home time, which is good because that's kind of what we were looking for. He's okay being out during the week and then being home on the weekend. Or there's another one, because I told her, he really doesn't want to be in the snow. So she said, well, there's another option also that goes from Southern California to Casa Grande, and then from Casa Grande to somewhere in Texas, which means that he would be home, I think she said every other day or something. that's, you know, another option, and that would keep him lower. I mean, if he has to go through Flagstaff or Albuquerque or anything like that, that does get snow, but it's not like when we were going through the mountains in Utah and Idaho, and, you know, that's where we ended up having to put the chains on last year, and we're, you know, shut down for 15 hours. That's the one that was between Flagstaff and Kingman, where we were actually shut down the highway for, well, it took us 15 hours to get from Flagstaff to Kingman, which normally would take you like 3 or 4 hours. So, yeah, I get it. And it's much easier when you have somebody with you, especially having to put those chains on. You know, I've dealt with chains before, and I think I've talked about this, you know, last year when we went through the snow. I've dealt with chains before on a car, so they pretty much are pretty close to the same, except that these chains are way heavier, and you're dealing with the triple rail, which is, you know, since on your tandems you have 2 tires side by side, well, the triple rail has 2 sets that go over both of those tires in one chain, so it's pretty heavy. And then you have your single rail, which is your just 1 tire. Some states require that you carry so many triple rail because it's required that you use on so many tires. So those are pretty heavy, and they can be pretty tricky to get on. Being solo and trying to line those tires up and know how far to go, because you have to put it on and then pull forward to wrap it and then get under there. And if you don't have someone watching, it can be an experience. And I think it took us an hour or an hour and a half, I don't remember, to get them on. It was a lot of learning, because I mean, when I got done and did my road test to upgrade, they did have they have a set of tandem tires where they teach you how to do the single rail and the triple rail, but it's on on this post with 2 tires on an axle that are there. So it's quite different than being under a trailer trying to do it on a trailer. You get the same idea, you understand where the positioning is, but when you're in snow and slush and it's cold and you're trying to do that, it can be very challenging. And then taking them off took us like 20 minutes, but still taking them off, you have to like align them up, lay them out so that you can pick them up and hang them up so they don't get tangled, so that if you need them again, you're not spending a lot of time untangling them. So I'm about the organization, because I feel like if you take the extra time to put them way correct, it's going to save you time when you're trying to put them on. And I'd rather take a little bit of time while taking them off, which isn't as long of a process, than to already have to put them on and untangle them and everything else. So there's that. So I get it. So there's a couple options that he has. Actually, there's a lot of options that he has, but those are the couple that she talked about. So, and he's okay with Target. He's done Target before. The other one, the one requirement that he has is it has to be no touch free. So, because like Dollar Tree pays really good per mile, but you're also loading and unloading your own trailer, and so you really need to be fit, and he's not about that. So he wants to have no touch freight, which is just either drop and hook or a live unload. Few live unloads as possible, but that's what he's looking for. So yeah, it's just a matter of those things. And then of course it all depends on if I get the driver leader position. And I think I looked at I need to update my resume, otherwise I would have already applied today on my phone, but I need to update my resume because